On today's episode of Titus and Tate, the number one recruit in the country, and this time we mean it, Tate, the actual number one, the number one, your number one, whoever you think is the number one recruit in the country, that guy thinks this guy is the number one recruit in the country.
Yes.
Chet Holmgren announced that he's going to Gonzaga, Tate. North Carolina and Ohio State were on his list, and he broke both of our hearts because we both definitely felt like he was not going to go to Gonzaga and he was going to go to our alma maters.
Yeah, that's what we thought at the end of the day. We were hoping, but Chet Holmgren decides to stick with Gonzaga. Jalen Suggs from Gonzaga was at the announcement. They obviously go way back. So that was cool to see as far as like a college basketball connection. There's a nice little Minnesota to Gonzaga pipeline. It does feel like the Jones brothers should have gone to Gonzaga in a different life. But like you said, it's good for Chet Holmgren, and it's the big news for college basketball. We took over SportsCenter. Take that, haters.
For an entire hour, basically, because Chet drugged that thing out. God bless him. He knows how to make content.
He's already a superstar.
Yeah, I love that t-shirt too. We're gonna talk about all that. Also, Andy Katz is joining us, Tate. If you thought that the offseason meant no more Andy Katz, I have some great news, or maybe bad news. I don't know. If you're an Andy Katz hater, I have really bad news.
Yeah, we apologize.
Does Andy Katz have haters, by the way?
I don't think so. I mean, it may be like in the reporting world, you know what I mean? It seems like someone would be like, he has too many scoops.
We should ask him that. We should ask him. Damn it. We should have asked him that. That should be the.
We have more time in the offseason. Maybe we do his tier rankings of rivalries in the recruiting, like in the journalist world that he's in.
Oh, I like that. I'm just curious.
Rothstein up there.
Who would hate Andy Katz? What fan bases are hating Andy Katz, and why?
Is there like someone with the last name that's like Dog that would hate him? I don't know.
Well,
Mad Dog, maybe Mad Dog Sports.
We know that Jim Boeheim hated him for a half second.
That's true, but he said that they mended that. Yeah.
So, anyway, Andy is joining us, so we're going to talk to him a little bit about all the happenings of the offseason so far, coaching carousels, players transferring, all the news that just will not stop. Tate, it doesn't feel like the offseason, certainly. And finally, we're doing something fun at the end of the show today. We are drafting our super leagues. If you're not paying attention to the sports world right now, there is a situation with the world of soccer in Europe where all the best programs are breaking off, and it is hilarious. And Tate and I started talking about it, and we realized that the only sport in the world that is more corrupt than college football or college basketball is soccer. And in a lot of ways, there are parallels between college sports and soccer. So we thought, what the hell? Let's have some fun and figure out if college basketball did a super league, what would it look like? So Tate and I are going to draft our own, and we're going to draft our super league using all.
This is when the Utah Jazz play and they do take note. This is you and I. We're taking notes. We're trying to see what a super league would look like because it's got to happen in college basketball. If this is already happening, it moves down. It moves down. There's a trickle down effect to this, and we're getting prepared. We're ready for our super league. I can't wait to draft our team.
It certainly feels like that's where we're headed. Let's talk about Chet Holmgren a little bit today before we bring Andy on. So first of all, you would agree this guy is the guy. I know we make the joke all the time about number one recruits in the country. Amani Bates is up there.
Yeah.
Others. Peyton Watson is our number one recruit because he committed on our show.
Yeah, if you come on our show, you're number one. So yeah, Peyton Watson officially Titus and Tate ranked number one recruit. Yes.
So Chet Holmgren, let me strike that. The number two recruit in the country behind Peyton Watson.
Yes.
Committed to Gonzaga today. We are not only what am I going to say? One of the things that we're great at, Tate, if I can pat ourselves on the back, is breaking down recruiting announcements, how they choose to do it, where they choose to do it. Did they put out a graphic? Did they announce at the McDonald's All-American dunk contest, or did they choose to do it in their high school gym? Chet chose his high school gym.
Yep.
He chose to have his parents next to him, but I wanted to get your attention, or I wanted to get your thoughts on this because this got my attention when I was watching it. Was two things. Number one, the announcement took an hour, and that I turned it off for a little while and then came back. I got to a point where I was like, screw it, I don't need to watch this. I'll just find out on Twitter he went to Gonzaga. And then like 30 minutes passed and I was like, I'll throw it back on.
You're like, I guess I do need to watch. Something amazing is going to happen. That's kind of how I felt too. As it was happening, it felt very much, you know what it reminded me of was the LeBron decision from 2010 where you were kind of You look at the programming guide. This is, I guess, this is when I used to do that, at least, like on the the channel guide, and it's like an hour and a half was blocked out. And I'm like, what are we gonna do for an hour and a half? Is this gonna be like a concert or something? Like, are we gonna get to watch something?
Miley Cyrus comes out.
That would have been better. The fact that this was an hour, the fact that it still led to a kid mumbling like I'm gonna go to Gonzaga, and then like being nervous on TV. I mean, the best part about the whole thing for me was like seeing that an 18-year-old kid hasn't changed that much. You know what I mean? We always hear about these generations. Everything is changing. Nothing will be the same. They can't even relate to you. They have no idea what you're talking about. And at the end of the day, Chet Holmgren looked like every single other top flight recruit that was nervous to be on SportsCenter, that was nervous to make a big life decision, and was awkward as hell while he was doing it. And to me, that made him endear himself to me at some level. I know he probably was like, I wanted to look cool as on ESPN. What are you talking about? But to me, I was like, this is familiar at some level. Other than the Gonzaga part, I think the Gonzaga part is the most shocking part. But they're officially a blue blood, a full-on new blood that is now on blue blood status, whatever you want to call it or frame it. But otherwise, it felt very familiar.
Yeah, that's a great point. That the more things change around these announcements, the more it stays the same. Of the 18-year-old kid is nervous, and then this kid's been in the spotlight for a long time, and he's still like, I'm 18, dude. Like, I don't. This is weird to be.
Yeah, he's like, you guys are stressing me out. Yeah, all of you ESPN people, all of you saying, how does it feel? How does it feel, Chet? How does it feel to get this over with? And he's like, and if you're 18 or what, 17, whatever it is, like you do not know what the answer to that question is, other than like, it feels pretty sweet. Like, I'm dope, and you can't really say that because that would, of course, not be good for your brand.
He did the J. Will.
Yeah, I like that.
Open up the jacket. I like that a lot. By the way, shout out to J. Will that I called it the J. Will. That seems like, I'm sure Jason Williams loves that I just called.
I'm sure someone else did that before. Like Kendall Gill's like, I did that.
I just started that.
J. Will stole that.
He opens up the jacket, Tate, and he has a T-shirt with his own face on it at least 3 times, is what by my count. I didn't. I
think it was 3. Yeah,
it was 3 times, right?
Yeah. To give a reference point, you have a Jimmy V shirt on.
I do have
one of the most legendary coaches of all time. And guess how many faces are on that shirt? One face.
One face.
How many Jimmy V had? One.
When we announced we were going to Fox Sports, we did a recruiting announcement of our own. We put hats on, Fox Sports hats, Westwood One hats.
You put a hat on a hat.
I put a hat on
people
a hat.
At home. Yes.
And my question is, you mentioned 18-year-olds mumbling hasn't changed much, but my God, the announcements themselves, they're evolving, and I'm so excited for the future. We've seen the graphics, we've seen hats. Are hats done? Are we going to get more T-shirts? Did Chet Holmgren just start a new trend where we're going to get T-shirts with guys' faces on them?
I think guys don't like the idea of hats because hats are awkward, especially if you don't like, if it's a brand new hat. Everyone knows.
Yeah, that's right.
If you wear hats, if it's a brand new hat, you put a hat on, you got to get it fitted right. So you don't look great in your pictures. And this is supposed to be your moment. And obviously these kids are all on Instagram. So it's got to be a great picture of themselves. So they're thinking, cut out the hat, cut out the hair, issue here. And now I just put on a T-shirt. I open the jacket. I show you where I'm going. We all celebrate. We take the pictures.
I think our offseason, content can maybe be, we do like Nathan for you type stuff, but we do recruiting announcements for recruits. Is you and I offer our services on like how you should do it, how you stand out, where you should do it. You should pull like a rope and a banner unfurls and confetti falls and it says mission accomplished.
We should start a company for regular people that does announcements where we like build a graphic for them. It's like, you're going to go work at Bank of America, once you graduate from college. So here's your graphic that we made for you. It's like going into investment banking 2021 at Bank of America. It's you're writing a check in the picture. Just
for $500, we'll give you a graphic and we'll
and a brand. Like we'll give you like a hashtag.
Your thoughts on Chet Holmgren going to Gonzaga in the sense that Gonzaga to me has positioned themselves as I think you said the new Duke. You said Drew Timme feels like Christian Laettner.
Yeah.
And is Gonzaga the new Duke? Now they have not won a national title. They lost to Baylor. But they still get the number 1 recruit in the country. They might have the number 1 pick in the NBA draft in Jalen Suggs. And there's an embarrassment of riches in Spokane, and yet they have not won a national title. So as a hater yourself, as a guy who has hated Duke, hates the Duke model, Do you feel like now that you landed a guy named Chet, the number one recruit in the country, is this a hateable move for Gonzaga? Where does this fall? Do you think America's going to like Chet Holmgren on Gonzaga? Are we out on Gonzaga? Where is America going to fall in this state?
I think America is still, I believe that they are still misconstrued a little bit with Gonzaga, because I think Gonzaga fans themselves, right, hate Duke. And I think that they believe that. And I understand what they're saying by that. They're like, we're not Duke. We are not about that. We don't use gimmicks to win games. That's not us. And if anything, you guys use gimmicks, would say a Gonzaga fan about North Carolina in the 2017 title game. But you mentioned it. I mean, this guy's name is Chet. He's the number one recruit in the country, and he should be going to Duke. And there's just no doubt about that. And the fact that Drew Timme is going to probably come back and run it back, that says a lot about that front court, that you're going to have a guy named Chet and a guy that strokes his mustache every time he does anything of note. I mean, that is probably the most hateable. That's the most hateable front court I could think of. I mean, it makes Mo Wagner look like Alonzo Mourning, you know what I mean, in comparison. And so in general, I think that is a hard place to start for them to not be the new Duke. And if you really think about it in the context of time, you know, Duke in 1990, you know, is nobody. Duke is like trying to knock on the door. They've made, I think, 2 championship games at that point, maybe 3. And Coach K, everyone's saying, will he ever get over the hump? Will he ever get over the hump? It does feel like this next year could be 1991 for Gonzaga. They get over the hump. They get their first title. They win one with Chet. It was supposed to happen this year. I thought that Suggs would be their guy, but maybe it's this year. And if they do win the title, Titus, they're officially the new Duke. They're officially,
they officially are.
They're not hated yet because they haven't won right
but
now.
I think they still
annoying.
are hated in a weird.
They're annoying.
We've never been in a position like this as a college basketball community where I do think there are a lot of people that hate Gonzaga, but they've never won a national title, and it feels weird. They're a small school.
I will say I do not hate them yet, but if they win next year with Chet, I will hate them.
I certainly do not hate them. I badly want Gonzaga to win a national title. I think it's an awesome story for the whole arc of the program. But at the same time, you and I do not represent all of college basketball fans. So there does seem to be a contingent of people that are like, screw these dudes. I don't want to hear like people are going to be very upset that Gonzaga is going to be ranked number 1 at some point next year. And they're going to say they're overrated. They're going to say, we saw this last year. They got smoked to Baylor. Like, get this team out of my face. They don't play anybody. Like the familiar refrain is going to happen. And I just find it interesting because now Gonzaga is, whether they've won a national title or not, they're landing number 1 recruits in the country. They're landing 5 stars regularly. And that's interesting to me because no other program is going to catch that much heat without winning a title. But
what's interesting to me will be the next 5 years, which will be, Chet Holmgren, I think, was already a done deal to Gonzaga. After, without Tommy Lloyd, that's already done. What I'm interested in is what happens when the West Coast is splintered. What happens if Tommy Lloyd is able to actually recruit the same way that he was to Gonzaga, but at a blue blood like Arizona? Because then we have the best rivalry in our new West Coast basketball, universe of sorts, which is the new bloods versus the blue bloods. It is the epitome of it. It will be Gonzaga versus Arizona. It'll be Tommy Lloyd with the players like Miles Simon and Jason Terry and Richard Jefferson and all those guys, if he can get them to buy in, versus Mark Few's FIBA basketball and international basketball and recruiting kids from all over the world.
And that is Cronin
versus Mick Cronin
and Jordan Brand.
Yeah, I mean that is a fun backyard for you and I when we talk about college basketball. So in general, I'm okay if Gonzaga gets to the point where everyone says they're the Duke and they're the most hated, because that means that they're that good. That's really what it says. So if you're a Gonzaga fan, don't take it as a slight. Take it as we are officially a powerhouse.
I think Gonzaga fans would be okay with it if they win a title.
Exactly.
That's a bad spot to be in as a fan, where you're like, everybody hates my program and we've never won.
Actually won, yeah. What is happening? And people how did we get and honestly, there's some people that hate Gonzaga or got more hate because of this year. You know what I mean? Like this year, kind of, if you were one of the haters that said they never do it, on the big stage, this year kind of, if anything, solidified your belief in that. So they have a lot of unfortunate, just shade that's going to be thrown their way. And at the end of the day, they live in Spokane. They fly private wherever they want to go. They're going to be okay. They're going to play who they want to play. And if anything, the cards and the chips, whatever you want to say, have to fall their way at some point because they're too prepared, they're too good, and they have too much talent. Like if Drew Timme does come back and they have Timme and Chet Holmgren, I haven't even seen Chet Holmgren play that much, but I assume with Drew Timme, he's going to get a lot of opportunities. You know what I mean? And I think he's going to probably flourish in those opportunities.
Our good friend Andy Katz joins us now, 2 weeks removed from a national championship that all of us swung and missed on. Andy, how first of all, how are you? It's the off season. We got to do just a mental health check-in on, it was a wild run there. We were all like watching a lot of basketball and a lot of weird vibes inside the bubble. Now it's been 2 weeks. How you feeling? What have you been up to?
Well, first of all, I was gone for 30 days. So there's this whole re-entry process, as if I were an astronaut. I'm coming back into the orbit of my family. There was a lot of re-entry for that. The best news of all of it was that my dog Lola remembered me, and she was very excited to see me because I'm the primary dog walker. So she was walked while I was gone, but at the same time, I think she was thrilled to see me. So that's been sort of the main thing. I mean, obviously there's a lot of news going on in college basketball, but I think it's the re-entry phase that I'm sort of readjusting to.
And Andy, that makes me, it brings up the next point. How do we talk about the re-entry into the offseason? Because as you know, we did not have an offseason last year, really. We had just like this long waiting period as we got back to college basketball, as we decided if we would be back. So like, can you let Titus and I know what we should be doing in the offseason, in a normal offseason? Because I need a reminder of sorts. I kind of feel lost here.
Well, there is no more normal offseason, it seems. I do think this one is skewed and is sort of on steroids because of the freebie year that everyone's getting as seniors. So it's a crazy number in the transfer portal, but I don't think it'll be this wild every year. I think it's because everyone suddenly has this free year. So maybe they put their name in, maybe they want to just play somewhere else for a year, see if they get any offers, any bites, and then they're coming back. I mean, that's what's kind of cool is we've got all these sort of merging things. You've got guys declaring for the draft.
Yep.
Other guys returning to their school, making those announcements, big time recruits saying where they're going, and then the transfers of where they're going to land. And that's going to continue really throughout the spring. The transfers will start to trickle down at some point, but then we'll get into the draft of who's going to stay and who's going to go. Although I think for the most part, the big names I think will stay in the draft. Unlike last year, if you remember, because the draft dragged and dragged and dragged, we didn't know when it was going to be. Ultimately, it was in November. You had a lot of players that flirted with it and then immediately sort of decide, you know what? I don't know when this thing's going to happen. I hope there's a college basketball season, so I'm going to go back. I don't think we're going to see that for the most part for the guys that we think are going to be in the first round.
Andy, this is our job, and I still feel overwhelmed trying to process all the news. As you said, like Chet Holmgren today announces where he's going. That's news we got to keep an eye on. The coaching carousel is something we have to keep an eye on. Transfers, and you just went through the whole gamut of stuff we got to monitor. Do you think that like as college basketball is shifting, I don't want to say towards a professional league, but certainly the dynamics of what college basketball is changing to where it's not quite as amateur as it once was. We'll put it that way. That like there are more and more wheels of change turning to put it, towards whatever the future holds. My question to you is, do you envision a world where maybe there's some sort of deadlines because or some sort of announcement days where it's all cohesive? Because in the past, the reason we don't have these deadlines with like recruits announcing or transferring is because that wasn't supposed to be what we cared about, quote unquote. It's like they're students, so students can decide when they want to enroll, when they want to transfer, whenever they want. But it's made it so hard for like those of us who cover college basketball to keep track on this. Do you think there will ever be a day where it's like, today is the day, if you haven't committed to where you're going, you can't play? I'm sorry. So it's like all the announcements are going to happen to like a free agency day, so to speak, and transfers, recruits, what have you.
I hope so. I don't know that for sure. And obviously there's a shift away from over-regulating, but I think that would really help everyone to set a date. I mean, look, there are dates for signing. There's a signing day or week really in November. I've always thought the one in the spring is way too long. I mean, it's like a month, and I don't think you need that long. So I would like that to be shrunk. And I would love to see the transfer portal basically be, maybe it is just 1 week. And maybe that's, mid-May, late May, something like that. I mean, because the reality is, once we get to a more normal time frame, and I don't want to, and I'm going to take this from the player perspective. Obviously, the coaches want to know what their roster is going to be. But once we get to where everything starts to sync up more, and the NBA draft, I think, goes back to late June versus late July. I think also because summer school has become such a big deal right now, and getting there early in June, late June, early July, for getting with your teammates and taking classes and things like that. I do think that you need to know earlier where you're going to go. And so I do think that we're going to see I would hope at least in 2022, things start to be a little bit earlier in the spring and not push into the summer, where all these players are going. I mean, we're sort of seeing that now, but there's still a lot of names out there. And so I'm hoping, to your point, that we will get at least some of those dates.
It's got to be frustrating, like trying to construct a roster when, like you say you need a point guard, you sign a point guard, and then the next week some all conference caliber point guard says, I'm entering the transfer portal, and you're like, no, hang on a second. Wait, what? And like you want to reverse that. So I don't know if there's I don't know what the answer is, because as I said, like you got to be careful. That's always the thing with the NCAA with college.
Well, it's interesting. So I think it's a great sort of segue of what was going on with there was sort of moving pieces here with Chet Holmgren with Gonzaga, Walker Kessler, because Gonzaga thought they were getting Walker Kessler, and then Drew Timme, who is the sort of the third piece. He hasn't officially said what he's doing as we're taping, but I think he's going to return. But Walker Kessler, I do know, was sort of still weighing, okay, is Holmgren definitely coming? Is Timme staying? I don't want to be in a logjam like I was at Carolina. And so he decided, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to commit to Auburn, where I have another connection. And so he decided to do that.
Yeah, another connection for sure.
Connection.
Yeah, it's some form or fashion. So anyway, but suppose he's got a summer house in Alabama.
I bet he does. I bet he does.
So anyway, like if they're, to what you're saying, if there are deadlines of where we know when certain things, you could say, okay, I got to decide this transfer by this date. Yep. I got to announce my commitment by this date. I got to decide if I'm going to withdraw from the draft or declare for the draft by this date. So at least things line up a little bit more, which, by the way, that would have been quite a trio right there if Kessler decided to go to Gonzaga with Holmgren and what I would expect to be Timme. But he decided not to. So he's going down to Auburn.
Yeah, I can only imagine Walker Kessler going to Gonzaga and then playing behind Chet Holmgren and Drew Timme. That would that would not be very fun for him. Andy, I had to ask this because I'm getting confused. It seems like every player, like Trent Frazier, is the perfect example of this. First, there's an announcement that says he's going to go test the waters in the NBA. Then there was an announcement that he is like thinking of something else. Like, he had a dream emoji, and that was an announcement. Then the third announcement was he's coming back to Illinois. So, like, how are you keeping up with all the announcements? Because every time I see one, it takes me to the third paragraph to figure out what they're announcing. I know it's an announcement, but it's just so much. There's just so much that goes into it.
Well, and he's another great example because, I'm sure he knew, and we all assumed that Iowa was going to declare for the draft.
Yep.
But probably didn't know that Adam Miller was going to transfer.
Mm-hmm.
He was a big piece of that Illinois team, freshman. That was a surprise, I think, to Brad Underwood and everyone. He leaves. Andre Cabello has said I'm assuming he's returning.
Yep.
So now the dynamic changes for Trent Frazier. Like, wait a minute, I can be back to sort of when he got there, he was more the guy. Then Io comes in, he takes a back seat. Then Cabello comes in last year, and he's kind of taking another back seat. And now he can sort of come back again where, wait a minute, it can be me and Andre Cabello. We're the 1-2 punch in the backcourt, and we're the guys. And so now the situation is sort of opened up for him to come back. Doesn't have to even learn any new teammates, new system. He's not ready for the NBA. And it's just like it's a good situation for him.
Yeah. I want to talk about coaches a little bit because we've mentioned how this was a quote unquote free year for the players. That's what people say, is that didn't count against their eligibility. There was a thought, at least I don't know how prevailing it was, but there was a thought this season that This was a free year for a lot of coaches, Andy, that given the circumstances of the season and how weird it was and all the challenges that had nothing to do with that none of these coaches were prepared for, that they had to deal with, that, maybe athletic directors, whatever, would be a little lenient when it came to making decisions in the spring. In the case of the Miller brothers, we have learned that is most certainly not the case. Both of them were let go. Are you surprised how much the coaching carousel is turning already this offseason, given what we thought coming into the year that was going to be kind of a free year?
Not once we had a normal, I say normal NCAA tournament in terms of drama, intensity. Obviously, it was not normal in the way it was carried out. But it turns out that last year was that free year you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where there were a lot of coaches I think probably would have gotten fired, but there was no postseason. There was cost cutting. People were getting furloughed, and they didn't want to spend the buyout money.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of these guys. I'll never forget sort of at the time, Martin Germain, who was the BCAD, now he's at UCLA. He kind of had a weird statement about Jim Christian at the time, like the timing's not right because of the pandemic, essentially. In other words, we weren't going to fire him because we can't afford it right now. And so that saved Jim for this past year. And then obviously he got fired by Pat Kraft, the new AD. But so, yeah, I think that because of this, we had a season. There was a lot more movement than I think any of us thought, and some surprising moves. First of all, we didn't expect John Brennan suddenly to get whacked after 2 years at Cincinnati. Yep. And Wes Miller, who was like sort of the groomsman at the Carolina situation, suddenly he's at Cincinnati from Greensboro. Obviously, Tommy Lloyd getting Arizona is a major deal that probably would not have happened. Well, actually, Tommy, I talked to him last week. He was pretty clear about that. It would not have happened, had the sanctions not happened. So that was a newer thing, because once the sanctions happened and Arizona had to self-impose a ban, this job was going to come open if they could get the money to deal with Sean Miller, and they did. Tommy Lloyd goes from Gonzaga 31-1 to being the head coach at Arizona. So that was a bit, the Chris Beard, Shaka Smart. If they don't lose to Abilene Christian, does he still get fired? Maybe, but maybe not. What if Texas carries that run from the Big 12 tournament title deep into the NCAA tournament? Now suddenly they lose to Abilene Christian in the first round. He's going to get whacked, but he gets ahead of that and goes up to Marquette. And then it opens up for Chris Beard, who 2 years ago was playing for the national championship. And now he's got an open bank account to build a staff that's, two head coaches, the top assistant at Kansas, to build something at Texas right off the bat. So a lot more movement than I think we all thought, but it certainly has made for quite an interesting last couple of weeks.
Well, my follow-up and talk about the coaching carousel then, Andy, is are you surprised at how many assistants are being hired? This is something that Tate and I talked about when we briefly went over the coaching carousel, how crazy it is that Arizona, Indiana, North Carolina, I was trying to think of all the other head coaches, but like a lot of these marquee type jobs are opening, and they're going.
Are you calling Indiana an assistant?
Well, I mean, Mike Woodson was an assistant when he was hired. He was hired off in a technically he's got. I don't mean to say
think of him more as an NBA head coach, but yes,
he's an NBA head coach. Either way, however you slice it, it's like these marquee jobs are being hired by guys who are not college head coaches. They're not being, it's not like Chris Beard is the one that's different. Like he's the one that went from, he's a college head coach. He becomes a college head coach at a big time program. And it feels to me, Andy, that like part of this thinking, and maybe it's because I was paying way too much attention to Mike Woodson hired at IU, is people are trying to follow the Juwan Howard model. That certainly seems to be, Tate, you can stop me if you're wrong. Like Hubert Davis, it's like the Juwan Howard. That's like the idea. It's like it's working for Michigan with Juwan Howard.
It's the sell now. Yeah, you say that, and people are like, "Oh, nice, that's what it is."
Andy, should we be worried though?
Let me say this: more than 50% of the hires so far, whether they're assistant or head coaches, Earl Grant, head coach, College Charleston, he goes to BC. But to your point, assistants: Micah Shrewsbury, Ben Johnson, so that's Purdue and Minnesota assistants. Hubert Davis, you mentioned in Carolina. Those assistants what I was going to say is more than 50%, have been someone of color. So predominantly Black coaches being hired, which I think is long overdue. But I also would say that these are coaches who are getting an opportunity. They're qualified. And I do think there is a tidal wave of whether it's Juwan Howard or our current climate say, you know what, we need to go in this direction and sort of level it a little bit more. I mean, Nate James, getting the opportunity, Austin Peay off the Duke staff. So, I think that's important. And, and certainly Juwan Howard, I think, is playing a role in that. But I do think that the trend also is the NBA connection.
Right.
I think it's strong. Even with Micah Shrewsbury, remember, he was with Brad Stevens in the Celtics, comes back to college with Purdue, and now he's the head coach at Penn State. So you've got that NBA tie-in that I think they're going to continue to look at as much as possible. Or a former player, like 2 years ago was Jerry Stackhouse.
Well, I guess this is my question, Nate. If you're an AD at Big State University, we don't know which one, but and the job comes open, what do you feel like the trend moving forward is the play? Like, what is the number one thing you're looking for? Is it NBA connections? Is it he's in the family, like he played here, he's in whatever?
Yeah, I just don't think it's a cookie cutter because, for example, so Tony Stubblefield going from Oregon assistant to DePaul, clearly they wanted someone who's got a lot of connections in Nike and has been there building programs. So that's why they went with Stubblefield. But they also were definitely going to go with, I thought, a Black head coach. And in Oklahoma's case, they were surprised by Lon Kruger retiring. Yep. And then Porter Moser didn't go to DePaul or Marquette. And here he is, obviously a hot name. Look what he did at Loyola. And so Joe Castiglione is, in that case, is saying, okay, who is the sort of hot name who I could get and bring down to Norman? And that made sense in terms of landing Porter Moser. Tommy Lloyd, there's also a connection there. You've got a big booster in Jeff Stevens, who is, it's weird, he's a Gonzaga and Arizona booster, which you don't see too often. And Tommy Lloyd obviously has great credibility, reputation in the West Coast. I thought initially they were going to definitely go with a former player, the Juwan Howard model, whether that was Damon Stoudemire, whether that was Jason Terry, or convince Luke Walton to come out of the NBA, or Miles Simon as an assistant, or Josh Pastner. But they went with someone who's very familiar on the West Coast, but obviously an assistant, but who's got a great reputation. You're going to get sanctions there. So you got to have someone who's got a clean NCAA record right off the bat.
I just I'll put it to bed. My final thought was it was a bummer how boring the coaching searches were. I'll put it that way. Like North Carolina opens up, Roy Williams retires, and I just thought we were gonna have content for days. I thought we were just gonna be throwing out names left and right, having so much fun trying to figure out which direction it was going. Indiana was like halfway fun for me because I talked myself into Brad Stevens, but then the moment Brad Stevens said he was a masshole, it really wasn't that fun. They called Mike Woodson. Mike Woodson's like, and the same with Arizona. That was like Tommy Lloyd out of the gate. And I was asking you, because you're the guy plugged in, Andy. Are the days of coaching searches going to be fun again? Because the UCLA coaching search was so much fun when they found Corona. We love that so much, and we want more of those. We want more of like there's a coaching vacancy. I
want to feel like I don't know who's going to walk through that door. And be the head coach.
Well, I will say this: I still think, even though I think they'll stay within their tree, I'm still fascinated to see what Syracuse and Duke are going to do, because that's going to happen within the next few years.
Yeah.
Because there's not a no-brainer candidate. I mean, if they say it's Jerry McNamara or Adrian Autry or even Mike Hopkins coming back, okay, that makes sense, but I wouldn't rank them in 1, 2, 3 in any order right now. Yeah. I don't know. In a Duke, is there a no-brainer? No. I mean, could it be Shire? Could it be Capel? Could it be, Bray? I don't think so, but could it be Chris Collins? Wojo getting fired doesn't help his case. Is it someone we're not thinking about? Is it Johnny Dawkins? Is it Tommy Amaker?
Quinn Snyder.
I think that, the power rankings of who that's going to be is going to be really intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's Coach K forever. I think he never leaves.
before we let you go, Andy, we got to do a little tier talk because that's how we were introduced to you, was with the tier talk that became a staple on the show. And we got to give the people what they've come to know and love from you, even in the off season. So I don't know how to frame it. Way too early, AndyKatz tier talk, whatever it is. Chet Holmgren announces today he's going to Gonzaga. That puts Gonzaga in the mix. Actually, I'm looking right now. I have your way too early as of today. Way too early.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
My adjusted one?
Yeah. This is a
You have
my adjusted one.
Yeah.
So you have
and
UCLA.
This is not public. This is for your viewing.
Okay.
Perfect. So you have UCLA at number 1. We love that. That is admitted, Andy. That's just like a brand play. That's just like you are throwing your name behind.
I just say this as we're taping. Johnny Juzang, Jaime Jaquez, Tiger Campbell, they're still there.
Yeah,
that's true. Peyton Watson's coming in too. They're going to be good.
So as of now, they have the most experience at the top.
All right.
I like that.
You have Villanova at 2, Gonzaga at 3, yada, yada, yada. Michigan at 4. Who cares? My question is, so you have Baylor at 10, and I wanted to talk about this because Baylor obviously won the national championship.
Andy?
I tried to provide content for you.
I love it.
I don't know what to do with Baylor. I don't know what to do with Baylor.
Well, this is my question is, now that Scott Drew has won a national title, can we finally start giving him I mean, this is the ultimate show of respect, is that you go into a new season and you say, I don't care what he has. I trust Scott Drew. And it feels like you're not there yet, Andy. You put Baylor at 10. Shouldn't they be like 5th?
Well, look, they were higher up in the one right after the Final Four. But you're looking at losing Mitchell, Butler, Teague, but I'm going to give them the respect. I have no idea what the roster is going to look like. They don't probably know what their roster is going to look like. And I'm sure they're going to mine the transfer portal just like they did a couple of years ago. So I'm giving them respect by just keeping them in some form or fashion in the top 10 without having any idea what that roster is going to look like.
Okay.
Respect. I like that.
Is that good enough, Tate?
I think so. I mean, I think if Scott Drew's at least mentioned, that's a win for everybody, especially in the offseason. And I will say, like, we're used to the offseason being like Duke and Kentucky winning the offseason because they get the top flight recruits. And that is a bygone era now. Now it's who's going to win the transfer portal, who's going to win, like all these different side deals of convincing guys to come back and play one more year, or even Mississippi State, for example. Like they're building a super team built of superstar transfers like Garrison Brooks. And I just saw they got Jeffries from Memphis as well.
Memphis.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Brad Davison coming back to Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh.
Make it stop, Andy.
Do you, Andy, give us some hope and optimism heading into the offseason. Do we feel like college basketball is in a good spot overall? Do we feel good about where we're at? We survived the pandemic.
I think we had such a great tournament, not a great final, although not a great competitive final, but it was obviously we celebrated how good Baylor was. I mean, that was a clinic, and then take a step back and appreciate what Gonzaga did for 31-1. But just, I mean, the fact that we're 2 weeks out and Chet Holmgren's announcement can be a dominating story on a Monday, that's obviously good news. I think that these, where these transfers land will be positive. Even Jalen Suggs, announcing hours later that he's going to stay in the draft, that brings back up college basketball, the shot, the block, the pass. You're gonna have to educate me on what this NFT is. I'm trying to learn what he was posting, what it means. Is it a hologram? Is it not a hologram?
It's a token. It's a token. It's a non-fungible token.
Is it Bitcoin? Can I use it to buy something? I don't know. Does it have stock value? I'm trying to figure all this out.
Stock value.
Can I shop with a Suggs coin? I don't know. So these are kind of things that I'm just trying to wrap my head around.
Here's what we know.
It's all good.
If an NFT can help with recruiting, Bruce Pearl's going to figure it out. And,
yes, character counts.
Also, I feel like, and if the internet loves it, Eric Musselman's going to figure it out. So let's keep an eye on those two guys.
And Sister Jean. She'll figure it out too.
I love, by the way, the that I was a small part in the Duffys of setting up, the media award, and that Bruce Pearl won it from a ditch, screaming into the cell phone. The character counts.
We
great
yeah.
award.
Full disclosure, we were gonna have Andy present the award for excellence in journalism, and he found out he wasn't gonna win, and he refused. He said no. He's like, I'm not coming to your award show to lose to Bruce Pearl. Hell no. Thank you so much, Andy, for making some time for us in the offseason.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right,
Thanks, Andy.
All right, if you haven't been paying attention to what's going on in the soccer world, neither have I really, Tate, but I kind of got the grasp, the gist, I'm sorry, of what's going on, which is basically there are a handful of franchises that
12.
Yes, that matter in European soccer, and they are now forming a super league where they usually there's all the teams in England or in Britain play each other, and then all the teams in Spain play each other, all the teams in Germany. And then at the end of the year or throughout the year, there's the Champions League where all the best teams that have qualified from those leagues then meet. These teams are saying, we are the richest. We are the teams that people care about. To hell with your qualifying. We're just going to create our own super league. This is completely blown up the soccer world. I mean, honestly, there's the structure that exists within soccer has been turned on its head. The UEFA people are coming out and the FIFA people are coming out and saying that anybody that plays in this is going to be ineligible for the World Cup, for the Euros. They're losing their minds over this. But the reason it's relevant to us as college basketball fans is that the parallels are eerie. As we said at the top, if there's one sport in the world more corrupt than college football or college basketball, it is soccer. So I'm watching this and saying this is very feasible in the sport that I love, college basketball, something like this. Also, this whole Super League has been born out of basically a rift in philosophies, Tate, which is one philosophy says we are professional franchises. We are professional clubs. I'm sorry. They're talking about soccer. It's clubs. We are professional clubs. It is our duty to make as much money as possible. And to hell with everything else, I do not care about West Bromwich Albion if I am Manchester United. I care about Manchester United. I care about making a shit ton of money, and they can kiss my ass if they don't like it, those little peasants down there. I want to make a ton of money. The other side is that the whole reason soccer is the greatest sport in the world to so many people, it is the most popular sport by far in the world, is because of the grassroots movement, of the idea that there are so many teams out there, of the little guys. Like the tradition is what makes it awesome. And that certainly applies to college basketball because we have entered, Tate, this watershed moment, as you said, where like the old era of amateurism is starting to shed its skin a little bit. And we don't know what the new era is going to look like. They're not going to be full on pros, but it certainly feels like the winds of change are blowing.
Should we call them the Jackie Moons? Because we're getting into semi-pro. Here. Yes.
But the same sort of conversations that happen in college basketball are similar to what the conversations are happening at the Super League, which is like, you can't pay these players because then what happens to the Davidsons of the world? What happens to the, and the big,
the Davidson is Leicester City in this example.
Yes. What happens to IUPUI? IPFW has beaten Indiana 2 of the last 3 times they played, Tate. What happens if now the system changes? IPFW will never have a chance to beat Indiana ever again. And Indiana fans are like, yeah, good. That's the whole point.
That's what we signed up for.
So Tate and I are certainly monitoring this situation with the Super League, a favorite phrase of ours, because I mean, in all honesty, this is always at play with we saw it already with conference realignment. Like we saw it with the ACC tried to. And
this is not something shocking. And when you really think about you mentioned the structures being so similar. I mean, the FIFA and UEFA, they are the NCAA in the sense that they have these tournaments and things that they run that are basically supplied by what is already the infrastructure in place. And then now they're coming out and saying, well, you can't independently operate. This would be like if, the ACC's teams and the Big Ten's teams got together and said, we're just going to have our own tournament at the end of the year and decide who is the national champion.
The other reason this is beautiful is that like blue bloods are already the discussion in college basketball. People love talking about which programs are blue bloods and which ones aren't. I feel like this is the end of the blue blood conversation. Like be done with blue bloods. I don't care about your blue bloods. I care about your super league.
Are you
a super league team or not?
Are you a super?
Are you a super? Like
it's as simple as that.
I don't care if you're a blue blood. What does that even mean anymore? Let's put it in terms I understand. Is Arizona a super? That's what I need to know.
No.
Okay. All right.
Maybe one day. Maybe if Tommy Lloyd brings it back,
so
we'll see.
Here's what we're doing today. We're drafting our own super leagues.
All right.
How did we determine who got first pick? You won first pick, but you don't want it. Explain this. What's going on?
So I won first pick, but again, it's one of those things where there is no criteria with the Super League because look, to give you a perfect example of this, there was a time when the actual Super League was being formed that Manchester United and Juventus had told the UEFA president that they were not going to join. And the UEFA president was like, I'm good. We got Man. Basically, the idea is like, if we keep Man U out, right? Like that's enough for us to kind of have the cachet here. And then they announced the 12 teams, and obviously Manchester United is one of the 12 teams. The idea is that they're going to add 3 more teams. There are 2 teams that are outstanding that you suspect would join the Super League. That is PSG. There are no French teams. And then Bayern Munich in Germany. There are no Germany teams. So that gets you to 14. Then there's one more spot that they're going to fill. And then the next 5 spots are going to be qualified for every single year. So that's kind of how the structure works. So you and I are going to do our 12. We're going to draft our original 12. And then maybe we'll throw in what we think could be the next.
We'll figure it out. But for
the purposes of the draft, we're just going to do 12.
We're going to do 12. So you want me to go first? Because you don't want to go first.
I don't want to go first because the criteria is too outlandish, and like I have my own personal pride. I know who I would pick first. You know what I mean? But I know that I also have the business interests of the 5 behind me, and they're yelling at me and they're saying we need the moneymaker, so it can't be your heart. So that's why I didn't want to go first. So I'll let you go first.
Are we doing snake?
Yeah.
We should do snake.
Should we do snake?
Do alternate. Which one?
Let's just do alternate.
Let's just do alternate?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right. Well.
Are you ready?
I gave you every opportunity. Yeah, let's just start it. But I gave you every opportunity. You had the first pick.
I want you to do it.
You didn't want it. I'm going to do it. I'm taking North Carolina first.
Oh, no.
I'm doing it.
They're going to kill you. Whoever's running the Super League, they're like, that was not the money-making move there.
That is the money-making move. You have Michael Jordan. You have...
Please.
I mean, I don't need to explain to you, Tate. I don't understand. I gave you every opportunity. I said
maybe I just want you to explain it. Maybe that's why. All right. So North Carolina.
North Carolina also. If you look up as I did the biggest television markets for college basketball, like the state of North Carolina has like multiple cities on the list. Charlotte's always big. Raleigh's always big. Greensboro.
Yeah.
Down the line. Wilmington, like the whole state. If you put North Carolina is a moneymaker. I don't have to explain it to you. Duh.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Right. I love that.
No-brainer.
All right. Well, look, you heard it here first on the show, folks. Mark Titus in the Super League, North Carolina, the number one pick. I feel like it has more cachet if you make the pick, I guess. That's what I should say.
Yeah, that's what you wanted me to do. I'll do it then. There you go.
It does feel good. All right. So the number 2 pick for me. And again, my Super League is all about what the normal Super League is all about, which is money, dinero. I am all about the cash. So I looked at all the athletic department's revenue since 2020, and that is how I am picking my college basketball Super League. So my number 1 pick, aka the number 2 pick, this is my Chet Holmgren per se, is your Kentucky Wildcats. $56 million that they brought in. That is my top revenue earner for my Super League. I want Big Blue Nation on my back. I want the Wildcats. I want Calipari telling every kid why he can only get the right and proper exposure at Kentucky. I'm all about it. Let's sign me up. Kentucky, you're in the Super League.
Well, I was definitely going to. I saw this playing out the exact opposite. I thought you were going to take Carolina. I had Kentucky number 1 on my big board for after you take Carolina.
I love this.
And
so mark them off.
You let me go first, so I take Carolina. So there you go. All right, if I'm taking Carolina, I have to take Duke. So Duke's my number 2 pick because I think I'm just trying to preserve the rivalry. I'm trying to. It wouldn't be much of a Super League if you didn't have the Carolina Duke rivalry to just
Yeah,
hype up every time that
we need ESPN to constantly show the graphic. You know what I mean? Where they're the exact same score based on this certain time and date. Yeah, we need that.
So I'm putting Duke in there. They're now going to play like 9 times a season, I think.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, 7 times. I think a 7-game series throughout the season is what everyone wants. Yeah, that's the Super League I want to be in.
But I have to take Duke because if you took Duke, that would just blow up. That would be. They have to be together. They must be together. So I'm taking Duke to preserve that. So there you go.
So right now, Duke and North Carolina are in your Super League. Are we building 12 separately, right? That's what's happening, or are we building 12 together?
What do you mean?
Like I can't draft North Carolina and Duke now, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 12. Okay. Sir. Yes. Exactly. That was the point. That's why I took Duke because I didn't want you to take Duke because then
exactly. I got you. All right. Well, here we go. My number 2 pick, the Indiana Hoosiers. This is close to your heart. Again, the number that I'm getting is $38 million in revenue for the basketball program. We need that money. We need the Hoosier State. We need the identity of, grassroots basketball. We need Hoosiers, and we love Mike Woodson because, as America has said to us, he's not going to be a good recruiter, even though all he's done is recruit from day one.
He is killing it.
And win.
Shout out Mike Woodson. Absolutely killing it.
Yeah, so we need that kind of energy in my Super League. I need NBA experience. I need great recruiters, and I need great basketball minds. And that's what Mike Woodson is. So I'm going to take the Hoosiers into my Super League. And, bada boom, bada bing. There we go.
And you just saved the Indiana-Kentucky rivalry with one fell swoop. Look at that.
Yes.
It's back on.
Exactly.
I'm just only going to take ACC teams. I'm taking. Well, that'd be hilarious. My 12 picks were like 12 teams from the Big Ten.
I'm just hoping that you're taking Syracuse. That's the only ACC team putting up.
This one's tough because. Oh my God, I have to think about this because I have in my big board. I have number 4, number 5, both available. And number 4, it feels like you're supposed to take number 4. That's how the big board works. Mm-hmm. But I feel like number 5 is the value play. Screw it. I'm taking number 5, UCLA.
Oh, wow.
I'm taking UCLA. Give me UCLA. I need a West Coast representative, the Jordan Brand. I need the hottest team in the country.
Big Cronin.
The hottest program in the country is UCLA. Everyone knows it. And I need them on board in Los Angeles. The whole it makes too much sense. Mm-hmm. I need UCLA. Apologies to Kansas fans, but it had to be done.
Yeah, I'm upset about losing UCLA, but I will say in my board, my rule was for my Super League that no teams from the West Coast could be in the Super League, and UCLA was my PSG. They were the team that I would let in. They were my PSG. I was going to let them back in, but you took them off.
I was worried. I know how highly you think of UCLA. That yes. I was worried. That's what I mean. Like, I think I wanted to take Kansas, but it would break my heart in half if you would have taken UCLA.
You already know what the answer is to what I got here. Kansas will be my pick. Yeah. The Jayhawks. Talked about Dr. James Naismith. Talk about Fog Allen. Talk about, just the idea of Lawrence, Kansas. There's no place like home. Kansas, the lore of the state in general, and it's a basketball place. It is the best home court advantage, Allen Fieldhouse, in my opinion, in the country. So and $34 million, again, this is all about money. That's all we care about when we talk about Super League. So $34 million Kansas brought in, according to my research. So I like that. I like that as a team that we need, and we need Adidas. At the end of the day,
that's a
Adidas.
Good point.
So
you do need Adidas involved.
We need them.
Damn it.
We need them.
Well, that makes me wonder if I need to get Adidas involved.
Oh, wow.
Pick, if you know what I'm saying here. But the 3 ACC teams, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters.
It's a Super League.
It's a Super League. There's no such thing as ACC.
There are 6 teams from the Premier League that are in the Super League.
You're absolutely right.
So half of the Super League is from the Premier League.
You're absolutely right. You're talking about big money spenders. You're talking about programs that have deep pockets and tradition, everything else. Lock me in at number 4 with the Louisville Cardinals.
Wow.
That
was my dark horse pick. I hate this. I needed this. I wanted Kentucky Louisville.
I
needed to beat Duke Carolina with Kentucky Louisville. That was my big plan. I shouldn't have jumped at Kansas. Big mistake.
If you're thinking Adidas, you got to go Louisville. So I'm going Louisville. On top of that, they are Louisville for how many years is in a row? Almost 20. That they are the number one college basketball media market. That more people are watching college basketball in the city of Louisville, Kentucky, than anywhere else in this country.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I feel good about my pick. That's a great pick at number 4.
Yeah, I think that was solid.
I just feel weird about 3 ACC teams, but I don't think it matters.
I will say that Louisville will not be in the ACC. They will be in the Super League. If they can jump up to any other league, they will. That's what they do. Chris Mack is the only reservation I have with Louisville, but, we can talk about that off air. Here we go. For me, my next pick, this is going to come close to your heart. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pivot. This is not going to come close to your heart. It's going to come close to a lot of Magic Johnson's fans' hearts. I'm going to take Michigan State.
Whoa.
The Spartans from the Big Ten, they made $29 million in their basketball department. So we'll take that cash in. We'll add it in. Our first Big Ten team, the first splash in the Midwest. Again, we bring in Magic Johnson. We have, the allure of, we are college basketball. We are for the people of Michigan. And we have, I think, a better coach than Coach K. Many people say that, Tom Izzo. So I'll take Michigan State.
Wow. That is you're taking. All right, I got to write this down so I know. Man, I feel like the draft has officially started because boy, there's a lot of different directions I want to go with this thing. Michigan State. I thought Michigan State would be there. I'll be honest. I really thought Michigan State would be there. Okay, so I have 3 ACC and UCLA basically. I need Louisville's not really ACC footprint per se. Kentucky, that's more we're starting to get into the Midwest, but I need a middle America team, man.
That's my Kansas.
I know. I'm hurting in that regard. I need you know what I need is Northeast.
Don't do it.
Boy, Villanova fans are going to be mad at me.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're going to be mad at me. It's not Villanova.
All right.
That is not my Northeast team.
Good.
It is UConn.
All right. That's fair.
I like UConn.
I like UConn too. UConn was on my list.
I like UConn to be my Big East representative. That's not to say I think UConn's program is better than Villanova's because Villanova dominates the Big East. It's just that I don't know. I'm thinking of you're thinking of the money. You're thinking of the actual success.
That's the Super League. It's not what I'm thinking. That's just how the Super League works.
I'm thinking of the splashy announcement. I'm thinking of I see UConn involved in anything. I don't know what it is. It just my mind goes back to old Big East, and I'm like, yes. So put me down for UConn as my
that.
Was that 5 pick? All right.
I like that. So now I'm on my number 5 pick. As I kind of running through the Rolodex here, I'm looking at my budgets and, the Fighting Illini are up there that they're trying to fight for my attention. $28 million. I love the tradition at Illinois, but man, I really don't. I think this might be a shocker, and I don't want to do this, but I think I have to do this because I think that they are officially a basketball school. I'm going to own the state of Michigan, so I'm going to add the Michigan Wolverines to my league. I want Juwan Howard. I want the School of Michigan. I want all the alumnus across all the world from Michigan that act like they watch Michigan basketball to say that they're watching the Super League. They made $25 million, in basketball in 2019. That's what the numbers are telling me. So I like all the upside of Michigan. I like that football is dead at that school. It's definitely a basketball school now, and I'm going to bring them into the Super League. And I don't think people are going to like it either. But, it has to happen.
I really thought you were taking Ohio State, and I was not happy about it.
I was thinking about it, but I took Michigan because of Juwan Howard. So
I am taking Ohio State immediately after solely because you took Michigan, and I don't want history to reflect that Michigan was taken like 8 spots
way before Ohio State. Yeah.
So it was back-to-back picks. It was a coin flip. Your coin flipped to Michigan. The only reason you took Michigan is because you already had Michigan State. Everyone knows it. And so I'm taking Ohio State. Give me Ohio State, the premier athletic department in this country. We are not a football school. We are not a basketball school. We are not a women's basketball school. We are an everything school. And the whole state of Ohio is tuned in. If Ohio,
I will say
playing anything, they're watching.
Ohio State $30 million that they made.
What was Michigan?
Michigan was 25.
Huh.
So
Huh.
I look, This is a move. This is a move made for Juwan Howard, which we think is worth around that 10 million that we're talking about. All right, that's good. I feel good about that. Next up for me, I'm going to take the Wildcats of Villanova. You already brought them up.
Yeah. I'm sad about that.
Villanova for me is the UConn pick for you. I think where it's like I see that V, I get fired up. I think of Jay Wright in the pinstripe suits. I think about the fact that they've won the 2016 championship, 2018 championship. They're all these are all recent types of championship dynasty type teams. I think there's still more in the tank at Villanova. I like what they have coming back next year. They're going to be a top 5 team. So I think Villanova just has to be in there. And I also think when Villanova announces that they're coming to the Super League, it gets the moral authority, behind it. People are like, oh, Villanova's going to do it. Well, it must be okay then. So we're bringing in Jay Wright.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. There's like Jay Wright and Tony Bennett collectively represent. I mean, I saw the good morality. I saw people. Was it Jordan Sperber? Yeah, it was today. Put together a compilation of all the new coaches in college basketball saying they're going to do things the right way.
Yes,
and I don't feel like it's a coincidence that Jay Wright is named Jay Wright. I feel like everyone. What they're really saying is we're going to do it the Jay Right way.
Yeah, it's not the Jay wrong way. Yeah,
he just represents like. Oh, if Jay Wright does it, then it must be
okay.
So that's a good pick. I wanted Villanova and UConn. I'm gonna be honest. I honestly had Villanova higher on my big board, but I was looking at UConn and I just like UConn is just the sexiest. The sexiest. The sexiest. Not. I'm just gonna stop the sentence right there. UConn is the sexiest. I see UConn. I can't resist. I gotta take them. All right.
Dan Hurley loved that.
Yeah. Can we clip that and send it to UConn? I want to see that a hype video UConn puts together going into
that's their kick out for the season.
Just me mumbling. UConn is the sexiest. Dude. All right, I got to start thinking about footprint. Unlike you, I want the entire country represented. I want a full coast to coast. The sun never sets on my Super League. I want everybody involved in this. So I'm trying to think of who I'm missing. I don't have any Big 12 teams. I don't have any SEC teams, but Kentucky is so much better than everyone else. That stuff. All right, I'm going to do this. Let me go with the Big 12 footprint. I'm taking Texas. Chris Beard is the new coach. This time it's going to work. Texas, as we know, everyone feels like it is a premier job in college basketball. It is definitely a better job than Indiana, as all the national pundits let us know the moment that the job came open. One of them being Andy Katz, by the way. I let that man off the hook. I should have.
Yeah, we should have brought that up.
I should have brought that up. But no, Texas is a behemoth. Texas is like Ohio State in that it is a football school, but at the same time, it is the premier institution in a state with a ton of people. Texas is obviously bigger than Ohio, but it is the premier institution. In a lot of ways, it's a football school only because it is an everything school. And
similar to North Carolina, that's kind of where we are too.
But there are other major schools in the state of Texas, but people by and large in the state of Texas don't give a damn. Baylor just won the national title, and I feel like far more people in Texas.
We're talking about Chris Beard.
Yeah, we're talking about Chris Beard, and that'll be the offseason stories. And whoever Chris Beard gets in the transfer portal, Mac McClung comes with him. That'll be the story. And people will be scratching their head about how good Baylor will be next year. We don't really know, but Texas is going to be really good, folks. Watch out for Texas. And all the Baylor fans will be like, we won the damn national title. Like, what do you mean, watch out for Texas?
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Don't watch out for Texas. Yeah.
I'm taking Texas. Give me Texas.
Texas, $20 million that they made. So that's a good pick as far as like the Super League money purposes. Wow. This is going to be, I think, a shocker, but I think it has to be done. They are a national championship program. I have told America that they are a basketball school for quite some time. They are ran by the bus that cannot be stopped, and that is your Arkansas Razorbacks. $25 million that they brought in the last time we checked. And when you think about You talked about the Southwest. You said, I'm not touching that territory. I had a plan.
No, I was touching that territory. I wanted to touch it.
The Southwest will be owned by the Must Bus. We will be taking trips to every state that does not have us, and we will be there. I'm so excited for the Must Bus to get rolling. So Arkansas is in the Super League, officially in.
No,
we have
I didn't
Kansas
say,
and we have Arkansas.
I didn't say I wasn't going to touch the Southwest. In fact, it's the exact opposite.
No, I said you said I wasn't going to touch it.
Oh, I thought you.
I knew I was coming to touch it. That's all.
I want a team in the South, but boy, you're screwing me here. You took Kentucky and Arkansas. Now I don't. I mean, Oh, this is like
what pick are we on, by the way? How many do we have here?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go each.
Okay.
So
all right, perfect.
Boy, this is a dicey situation here. I feel like you took Arkansas. Fuck, dude. I don't love that. I mean, North Carolina's in the South, right?
Yes.
I guess that counts. So we got North Carolina and Duke. Maybe I'll just
Yeah, I think you just ride those. That's pretty much
the
best.
NC
That's
State.
The best. No,
I throw NC State in the mix and tell NC State fans you have to represent the entire South. Well,
let me just tell you this: North Carolina fans celebrate when they see that they're the first pick in the Super League. They celebrate that Duke is in the Super League as well, so that they can play them. But as soon as you invite NC State to the party, both those parties say, the Super League's not that super.
Oh man. All right. I gotta lock in here. Figure this out. I'm doing I gotta go with my big board here. The team that the best available. I'm in best available mode. I'm in auto draft mode.
Yeah, exactly. Same.
I am taking best available Gonzaga. I know they have no national titles. We already talked about it on the show.
Wow.
But they land 5 stars. They almost went undefeated this year. And plus I think we need like a smaller brand. I think like we need an underdog, and Gonzaga can maybe go back to being an underdog, like they've ascended to, we were talking about at the start of the show,
how top dogs.
They're kind of hated now, but they joined the Super League. They are going to be underdogs again. All of the stuff about how they don't play anybody goes away. I Gonzaga works for me. I'm taking Gonzaga.
I like that. You speak of underdogs, and when I think of underdogs, I think of an underdog who went from the bottom of bottoms that lost to a 16 seed and then rose up and was able to win and claim a national championship. And that is why not only am I bringing Jay Wright into the Super League, I am also bringing the young, dashing, charming, whatever term you want to use, Tony Bennett and his Virginia Cavaliers. Welcome to the Super League. We need some representation for the ACC. We know that we lost Duke and North Carolina, but we are very happy to welcome Tony Bennett's team to the Super League. You guys are the face of the ACC right now, so we will ride you guys all the way to the top. Welcome. I can't wait. I love my Super League. I love my coaches that I have. I feel good about this.
Let me see.
We got Muss, we got Jay Wright, we got Tony Bennett, we got Bill Selfs,
Jawan Howard, Mike Woodson, John
Jawan Howard. Come on.
All right, you got a good league going. All right, let me see here. We gotta pivot. We need a big splashy move here. We got to do something, and we're getting down to the dude. You taking Arkansas really messed me up because that was gonna be my.
That was your I'm sorry about that. That to me kind of, as I was looking at the budgets, I'm like, they got too much money, and I love this basketball school. All right,
that was my value pick that I thought you would never see coming, and I would take that, and that would be awesome. Damn it. I guess I'm just gonna be the West Coast guy. This is gonna be a heavy West Coast, but I like the rivalry aspect here with Gonzaga and UCLA both. There's a lot of mix in there. There's screw it. Let's do it. I'm taking Arizona.
No, I like that. Arizona, $24 million. Definitely a powerhouse on the West Coast. Arizona was the only, I put on my list, only West Coast team that we will look at outside of PSG.
Really?
UCLA. Yeah, it was UCLA was PSG that obviously is going to get added.
You can't.
They're going to get added once we get to the 15. But Arizona was the only other team under consideration. Now they're off the board. Apologies to the West Coast.
No, I mean, listen, I might not be done. I'm a West Coast guy. I always have been.
Okay.
Everyone knows it.
Everyone.
Boy, every time we do one of these drafts, like this is why I could never be an NBA GM, because like the moment like you're playing, you have your big board fleshed out, and you're like, all right, so we're doing 12 picks. So I'll just like write down like 15, And then you start taking ones on my big board. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, you start looking down. You're like, what do we do? And then you panic. And this is an example of me panicking because my next pick is going to be your Maryland Terrapins. And yes, I understand that some people may laugh or scoff at the idea of the Maryland Terrapins. But again, they made $23 million the last time that they counted. And they have Under Armour. They have a brand. They have a state that's filled with basketball talent, obviously with Baltimore being there, and you talk about Dunbar High School and things like that. So I believe that the Maryland Terrapins are going to bring something to the Super League. We give them the advantage that they've needed the entire time. Maryland's coming in, but Maryland has to do a rebrand. That's part of it. We have to, like, they come in, but there's a lot of terms and conditions that come with it, but Maryland's in.
I thought you were going to take Maryland into the Super League and then trade him to the Big Ten immediately. So I thought that was going to be the move.
It was an SVP brand play. Now we have SVP talking about us in Sports Center. You know what I mean?
That's a good call. This
is the Super League. We're trying to make money.
Dude, the SEC is a nightmare. Like, I'm trying to figure out if you're taking Kentucky and Arkansas, what does that leave me? Florida, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Dude, Tennessee's never made a Final Four, dude. I'm not. I mean, no disrespect to Tennessee. With all due respect, Tennessee fans, you haven't made a damn Final Four. I mean, what are we doing? You can't be in the Super League.
Can't be in the Super League.
All right, I'm thinking big picture here because this Super League is not just going to be this year. It's not just going to be next year. This is going to be for 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, State. And as such, we need a team that can play in outer space. We need a team for when we expand this Super League to Mars.
Great point.
A team that when they travel to Mars, they're not going to feel they're not going to get jet lagged. They're going to be like, yeah, this is kind of like our home away from home. And for that reason, I am taking the only university that had an undergraduate by the name of Neil Armstrong at it.
Yes.
I'm taking the Purdue Boilermakers.
Yes.
Next pick.
Yes. I think it's a great pick.
There's nothing else that really needs to be said. That's my mom's pick. That's like a mom pick. My mom will be happy to know I picked
Laura Legend.
there. I needed some more. We got Purdue, Louisville, 1980 tie in there. What else is there? I'm trying to think. Purdue, Arizona, they feel very similar for some reason. I always felt like Matt Painter and Sean Miller were like sort of I don't know why. I'm just trying to make some parallels here. Purdue does kind of stand out though. I don't really can I undraft Purdue? Purdue was like I want to flip Purdue. I just want to like Purdue's like a house I just bought and I'm looking to flip it.
You're like, let's get this out of here.
No, I like Purdue. I'll ride with Purdue. Give me Purdue. Screw
we
it.
have two. We have what? 2 teams left, right?
You have 3. I have 2. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So here we go. This is also another one where I feel like some people may be upset. Actually, I'm gonna do this one before. I'm just gonna go ahead and take Illinois because I want the basketball state. They were able to bring in $28 million in profits. I believe that Illinois basketball is going to hang around for the next 25 years. I'm not sure it's going to be Brad Underwood to be that guy, but I will say Illinois basketball is a staple. I love the eye. I love the brand of Illinois basketball, and I love the history and the guys that are attached to it, you know, from the Flying Illini up to, you know, Darren Williams, D. Brown era. So I'm going to take Illinois. And that gets us the whole state of Illinois. So
that's a good pick.
I love Chicago basketball. So now we got Chicago kids.
Well, there you go. All right.
Wow, 2 more picks.
Two more picks. I gotta do it. I gotta take I say that before every pick, by the way. As I said, you can tell I'm a terrible GM because I'm prefacing every pick with like, man, I don't want to do this, but I kind of have to. I really would, dude. Like if I had like the number 2 pick in this year's NBA draft and I wanted to take like Cade, and I thought number 1 was going to take Jalen Suggs or something, and they took Cade, I would just like fall out of my chair and like, I'd have no backup plan. I'd be like, what? I don't know what to do. I'd just be staring at the wall. Like I'm flustered. I'm rattled. I don't know what to do here.
Can I just say the worst thing that could happen to Jalen Suggs is him going number 1 over Cade Cunningham?
I think you're right.
And it's the best thing that could happen to Cade Cunningham. I just want to say that on the record in case that does happen.
You're saying don't go number 1 this draft.
I'm saying never go number 1.
Who's the best guy? Who's the guy that's best? The best move for him is go number 1. Is it like Evan Mobley?
Yeah, Mobley.
Or one of the G League guys?
It's always yeah. It's one of the Jalen Green. Yeah, guys already played, I guess, in the G League. Like it needs to be someone that I don't think it's like a burden. Like Markelle Fultz when he went number 1, it was a burden. Anthony Bennett when he went number 1, it was a burden. You know what I mean? And when you're a big, you kind of have a grace period of sorts. I mean, even with Greg, like I felt like every single season when he was healthy and he came back, everyone was like, okay, now he's going to be the guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there is some time that we give bigs instead of guards. So I don't know. I just would say that out loud.
All right. Well, it's a good podcast. It's a good place to do that.
Yeah. I just got to, I can put on the record.
My next to last, my penultimate pick is the Syracuse Orange.
Oh God.
I didn't feel good about it because
you can have them. You can have them.
I don't feel good about him because I mean the reasons are obvious. Jim Boeheim is long in the tooth, and who the hell knows what happens when that guy.
I will say $32 million, number 6 on the list that I have compiled as far as revenue for the basketball department. So Syracuse is going to.
There you go. Money. Say no more. Also, Old Big East. I already have UConn. Now I have Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Louisville's old Big East. People forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. All right, that's fine. That's good. I'm feeling good about that. I like Syracuse. I've talked myself into Syracuse. All right, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I like that. I need a team in Wisconsin. I need a team that has a young, hot head coach that's going to get people going. I like the history of this program. I like that they are a Jordan brand program. And I love the idea that they got rid of the Duke chapter of their program with Wojo being fired. I am going to take Marquette.
Wow.
You got the D-Wade connection. He just bought ownership into the Utah Jazz. I like that as far as the brand play. I am, the Golden Eagles with Jimmy Butler as well. Guy who just went to the NBA Finals. So we talk about modern guys that are balling out for them. And just in general, I've always liked Marquette's jerseys and the color scheme and all that sort of stuff. I mean, obviously, a little close to North Carolina blue at times, but I like Marquette here, and I feel like it gets Wisconsin people excited. You know what I mean? When we bring Marquette in, they don't expect it, and then it happens.
Can I just say, let me go through your list here of teams that North Carolina has played in national championship games that you've now taken. You have Indiana, who you played in a national title game. You have Kansas, who you played in a national title game once upon a time. Wilt Chamberlain, am I wrong?
1957. Yeah, won that game, by the way.
You have Michigan State. You have Michigan. You have Villanova. You have Illinois and you have Marquette. Like this is your entire list. It's like teams that Carolina has either beaten or lost to in national championship
because
games.
they earn my respect, so therefore they can be in the Super League. If you beat the best, you just showed the whole world the best, the number one pick. If you beat the best, then you get to join the best, and you can welcome to the Super League. That's all it is. It's that simple.
I'm gonna put a nice bow on mine. I since I picked Syracuse, I got to go with this because I talked myself into Old Big East, and it just feels right as a way to end it. Like I feel guilty. Apologies to all the fans in the South, all the SEC people. I didn't mean. I really did. I wanted to get an SEC team on my list, but I'm sure as hell not taking Florida. And Tennessee has never made a Final Four, so I can't do that. I'm not doing anybody in the SEC. So I'm putting a bow on mine. Going back to the Old Big East. Well, I'm taking the Georgetown Hoyas.
Yeah, I like
Syracuse and Georgetown are my last two picks. I got a lot of great rivalries within my Super League: Carolina and Duke, UCLA, Arizona, Syracuse, Georgetown. Ohio State versus the world. I like my league. There it is. Georgetown's my last pick.
I like that. That's a good that's kind of what I was fighting here. You know, at times I was thinking we need, the SEC did this where they were like, we need a team just to beat up on for everybody. So they were like, Vanderbilt, come here, give us your grades and then let us beat up on you. So there was a moment in time where I was thinking Northwestern might be my pick, just to have like all the nerds, like, basically cape for us all year and say that we're a great league and write for us and say that we're amazing and that we, that's what I was hoping with this final pick. But then I realized that a Super League is all about one thing, as I said at the top: money. So the last pick is going to be a program and a brand that no matter what, even if it's not the primary sport, it always is going to print money. And it has one of the best coaches in college basketball right now, a guy by the name of Nate Oates. And that is why I am going to take the Alabama Crimson Tide into the Super League, and they made $20 million last year just from basketball. We also have the football ties that we can pull from if we need more money for the Super League. And there you have it. There's my Super League.
I love the idea of like Barcelona joins a Super League and like the basketball program at FC Barcelona is like helping them. You're like, of course, one of the like the guy who just started, JP Morgan guy, is like coming out of press conferences. Like the reason we asked Barcelona to join is because of their ties with the basketball. Deshaun Thomas played basketball.
We might need some more millions of dollars at some point. We're not sure.
Pretty good leagues. I would watch these. I'm curious to see what the people think.
I mean, the people are going to be upset because the people want us to pick like who's got the most national championships and then like to run down the gamut of that. But in reality, this was a draft. We lost teams, as they were taken, and we tried our best to figure it out, piece it together. And I felt really good. One of my guys,
like 3 picks in, I was like, I'm absolutely killing this. And then I think I took UConn over Villanova, and that was my sliding doors moment where it all just fell apart.
I mean, to be honest with you, you got the blue bloods, and I got the new bloods. Like I got
all right.
I mean, I think Baylor probably is the one that most people will say, I can't believe Baylor's not on your super team. But I will say this, Scott Drew lives in a world of being disrespected, and he loves it, and he thrives in it. And that's why we did this. It was good. We wanted Scott Drew to see this and be excited.
Who are the obvious omissions? I mean, Baylor's one, certainly the defending national champion. I'd be pretty pissed off if I was him. Oregon, How about Oregon? You
Oregon's
feel like
upset.
you want to talk money? They got
Nike.
deep pockets. Like, what more do you want? We have Phil Knight. We have Nike, and you didn't.
Yeah, but you have to understand that, like, when you're Oregon, you're Nike, but you're not really Nike, and you're competing with the actual Nike, which is Duke. So,
Right.
you know, that's
right. That's a great point. Phil Knight. Who does he care more about, Duke or?
Not who does he
or
care more about? Who makes him
Oregon?
more money, which is the whole point of the Super League.
That's the
And
same.
Duke,
Is that not the same question for Phil?
you're right.
Knight?
You're right. That's a good point.
NC State fans are upset just because.
I said that Duke and Carolina would leave if they joined the Super League.
Yeah, like I tried NC State. I floated the idea, and Tate said, "Don't do it." I'm trying to think of who else.
I did it for their sake. They don't want that.
I had Cincinnati / Dayton on my big board as like a potential sleeper. Like maybe float them an invite. Maybe like Cincinnati has Wes Miller now. Maybe he's going to turn it around. Cincinnati, boy, since joining the American, I do feel like Cincinnati's kind of fallen off a cliff. But I don't think Cincinnati's program's dead. I think they're sleeping. Right, we did that before. Sleeping dead.
Sleeping Giant. Yeah,
I think Cincinnati will be back. They joined the Super League. They're back, so I had them on the list. But
Wichita State's another team that I had on my like maybe +3 list of just like a program that I want, because I want states, like I want like basketball states, like I want Indiana. Like Purdue was another team I had because I was like, if I get Indiana, I'll take Purdue. North Carolina, you want North Carolina, Duke, Wake State potentially. And the idea that the Super League started with 6 teams in the Premier League, you know, is another wrinkle of this whole thing, where I could see 6 ACC teams or 6 Big 12 teams that do something like this, and then they recruit 3 or 4 more, and then we have a problem. And that is, or not a problem, we just have a Super League.
I should have taken like Miami to be my Manchester City of just a private school that's just going to pump a ton of private school in Miami that's just going to pump an insane amount of money into winning the Super League.
Florida State was the other team I had on my list that I did not bring up. But again, I was trying to base it on the revenue that they brought in. And I'm not even sure if the source I used was right. That's
source used was Darren Rovell. You're like, damn it, Darren, you got me again. Oh man, fun exercise. Is that it, Tate? Anything else before we go? Wrap this thing up.
I just want to shout out in general, just the idea that we got Chet Holmgren to take over Sports Center. I thought that was great for college basketball, and the fact that the Super League thing happened, and I had multiple people text me about what college basketball Super Leagues would look like. You know, as much as we hear that college basketball is dead, I'm pretty sure that the News and Observer from Raleigh put up a story today that Carolina and Duke are basically dead, and that they have no allure anymore to the kids. So like that is the usual offseason fodder that we deal with, but my whole point is to disregard it and enjoy that we have such great things that are happening, and we're taking over headlines, and you know, just enjoy it. That's my final thought. You know what I mean? Just enjoy college basketball in the offseason. Come on. It's the offseason. We're not supposed to be headliners.
To be honest, I think I'm taking out, if I could, I want Kentucky, I want Indiana, I want Kansas, and I want Michigan State. And I think I would kick out maybe my last 4 picks for those. Maybe not. I don't know. But those are the 4 I want.
Should we do a Super League of our Super Leagues?
This is like this is how I feel when NBA fans talk about why they don't watch college basketball, and they're like, the talent's not good enough. I only watch the NBA because it's the best collection of talent. And I'm like, well, why do you watch the Orlando Magic play then? That's not the best collection of talent. They're like, no. I don't. So in my mind, it's like, if you're going down that road of logic, you should only watch the first 5 minutes of the All-Star game, right? Like those are the 10 best players in the world. And then
that's all you care about is the All-Star game.
Yeah, they're like, you anything else, there's too little talent on the floor for me.
For me, not my tempo.
The moment they sub in one of the top 10 players of the world gets subbed out, I'm like, not good enough product for me.
What? Donovan Mitchell's coming in? Not my tempo.
Not my tempo. This is unwatchable. Get it out of my face. I have one shout out on my list. That's it. It is our producer Louise, who has been working with us at Fox since we came over from where did we used to work?
I can't remember. Yeah.
Wherever the hell it was we came from. This is her last show with us, Tate. This is the last show we were doing with Louise. She's moving on to bigger and better things. The one full season, like last season, we worked last season with her. We didn't get a tournament. She's like, I'm sure that was an anomaly. I'm sure like the chaos that those men brought.
It has to get better.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll get better. We had a full season with her this year, and she decided, you know what? It won't. It will never get better with these bozos. she is moving on, and we wish her well. And
in the spirit of college basketball, she is a one and done. And if there's anything that you and I both appreciate in the college basketball world, those are the one and dones, the true talents. And again, Louise has taken us under her wing. She has dealt with us. She has put up with us. She's one of the best. And we wish her nothing but the best. And hopefully we'll be able to connect again, because she brought Andy Katz to us. We hopefully will keep our own air relationship with Andy going, and that'll be
our tether to Louise is Andy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
We're just gonna end every interview we do with Andy, we'd be like, "How's Louise doing?" And she's,
yeah.
No, if you like the new iteration of the show, which in a lot of ways we hope it's not too dissimilar to the old iterations of the show that we've done, but we try to evolve, make it better as we move along. If you like the new iteration, you have Louise to thank for it more than anyone else, honestly, more than you or I or anyone else in this world. So yeah, that's it. She's a Syracuse grad. She was
she's very upset we did not draft Syracuse earlier. Yes,
she was losing her mind during the draft. So all told, I took Syracuse late there just for Louise. And that's that. So wanted to wrap it up with that. Do you have anything else before we go, Tate?
I think in life, just be happy that you get to work with good people, and when you see good people, wish them well and hope that they continue to do good and share it amongst the world. And that's what Louise is. So yeah, that's all I got, man. This is a great off-season podcast, and that's all we can ask for in the offseason, right? We just need something. We always just need something. Hey there. Thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.